Most people don't realize that Orphan is based on a true story, and it's one of the craziest things you'll ever hear. The film follows John and Kate Coleman, a married couple still grieving the loss of their unborn child, as they decided to adopt a 9-year-old girl named Esther from a local orphanage. It doesn't take long for Kate to sense that something about Esther isn't right. Strange accidents begin to occur, and Kate starts to suspect the sweet little girl they welcomed into their home is hiding something dangerous. The truth is that Esther isn't a child at all, but a 33-year-old woman with a rare hormonal disorder to make it look like she was prepubescent. The original story seems to be inspired by a true crime chronicle known as the Kuzum case, which took place in the small town of Kuzum, Czech Republic in 2007. At the center of it was a shadowy religious cult called the Grail Movement, a group with strict, almost apocalyptic beliefs. One of the women behind the cult was 33-year-old Barbora Skrlova, who was a classical composer and had a rare glandular disease that made her look like a child. This detail may have directly influenced Orphan's Lena, a talented pianist, also 33 in the film's backstory, but still able to pass as a child. Two of the women, Klada Mawarova and her sister, Katerina Mawarova, were eventually caught when a neighbor's baby monitor picked up footage of the torture scene and called police. Klada was using the baby monitor so that she could watch from the other room. Police rescued 2 boys, aged 9 and 7, and 1 girl, 13-year-old Anichka Mawarova, from the house. The girl claimed to be Klada's daughter, and she was placed in a youth care facility. But shortly after, Anichka ran away from the facility that she'd been placed in and sent a letter to the Czech police, claiming that her mom had not actually tortured them. Eventually, after the investigators dug deeper, it was discovered that Anichka didn't actually exist. This was a false identity that the women had created for Barbora. She had been posing as a 13-year-old to get out of charges being filed whenever she got in trouble with the law, which apparently was quite often. She used the Anichka persona to confuse and manipulate the young boys being tortured. Investigators later concluded that Barbora wasn't just hiding behind the Anichka persona, she was the manipulative force driving the abuse. As a central figure in the Grail movement, she convinced Klada and Katerina that the boys were possessed by evil spirits and needed to be punished. Barbora staged incidents to make it seem like the children were misbehaving, then later forced them to write letters confessing their sins. It was Barbora that persuaded the sisters to carry out the abuse. After the sisters were arrested, Barbora managed to flee to Norway, where she assumed the identity of Adam Pfizer, a 13-year-old Czech boy who had gone missing. Incredibly, she managed to enroll in school under the new identity, fooling staff and classmates alike. When she later vanished again, police launched a nationwide search for the missing Adam, only to discover that Adam was in fact Barbora. She was eventually found in Tromsø, arrested, and deported back to the Czech Republic. In 2008, Barbora stood trial and was convicted for her role in the Kuzum case. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison, though she only served part of that term before being released under probation. It's not hard to see the DNA of Orphan in this case: the use of a childlike appearance as both a disguise and a weapon, the calculated emotional manipulation, and someone dangerous hiding in plain sight.